Hi, everybody. Nice to be with you again this month. So, the topic I want to discuss with you this month is what does it mean to you to feel whole? That's my question. If I were to ask you, what do you think it would mean for you to feel whole? What would your response be? We have been so conditioned to look outside of ourselves for validation, right? To compete against one another. Think of school. It's learning in an environment, but it became a competition. We were taught, if you think back to grade school, the first place my subconscious mind, my memory populates immediately, spelling bees. Do you remember, did you have spelling bees in school? I remember that I would get so nervous. My hands would start to sweat. I would get sweaty. My hair would stick to the back of my neck. And I would have memorized all the words that were in the spelling bee. I had been studying them, and then I would memorize them again the night before. And I remember we would get in that line at the side of the classroom, and everybody would try to get to the back. Nobody wanted to go first. And one by one, you'd go up, and the teacher would give you a word, and you'd have to spell that word. But if you got the word wrong, the teacher was likely nice, but the other kids weren't always so nice. And I remember that I would have this panic in my stomach. And when I would get to the front and we'd get the word, we'd have to spell it. But every step along that walk to the teacher was stressful. I remember I was going over, I had the words going over in my head. And that was grade 2. How old are we in grade 2? Like 6, 7? The words were like bumblebee, peculiar, fascinated. I remember the words. They're still in there. So can you start to see where the perfectionist is born, right? For me personally, I am so structured in my life. I am extremely organized. I multitask well. I like things very, very organized, and my brain works quickly. And I think all of that comes from me training my nervous system from such a young age through a stress response, right? We're conditioned so unconsciously in our lives that we don't think about it. We just say, that's how I am, or that's the way that it is, right? We're conditioned so unconsciously, be the best speller, be the best athlete, be the best student, be the best in the room, get the best grade, or what? What happens if we don't? We feel like we failed. It's personal. There's something wrong with me. And if something is wrong with me or with us, then we don't feel whole, right? And for the rest of our lives, we're going in search outside of ourselves to feel whole, for this approval, this love, this accreditation, this acceptance. This becomes a pattern of trying to have outside influences meet our needs. But that's just not possible. Because if I need you to meet my needs and you need me to meet your needs, how does that ever work? And so we develop an identity. This becomes part of our identity because no matter what it is that you want, I guarantee you that once you have it, there's something else you want after that. You enjoy it, you love it, maybe you love it forever. I have certain things and pieces that every time I look at it, they make me smile. I so love how I came about it. Maybe it's a memory. I like to create those memories from things. So when I look at certain pieces, I think, oh, that was so much fun, or that was so meaningful. But we never stop wanting. We're designed to desire, right? It's not like, okay, and exhale. I spelled bumblebee correctly, and now I can just relax for the rest of my life. I'm good. I got that A in spelling, and I'm good. Life is just going to be easy now. From grade 2 on, right? I am complete. It doesn't work like that, right? We are desire-making machines. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. We're wired to desire things. What would it feel like to be vibrantly healthy, right? I just watched a post on Instagram from a woman. Oh, remarkable. She is 75 years old. And she is literally posting videos on Instagram of her doing backflips into a car. She'll do a handstand and then slowly bring her legs over in through the window, and then her core will pull her up and she'll slide into the car. And she looks and she waves and she puts this like really upbeat music to the background of the videos. And she's unbelievable. And she talks about how aging is, a choice. It's up to us. She's showing us that the world of aging can be joyful and we can be strong and enjoying our life, right? When I watch her, I think, I want to age like that. But what we get mixed up is desire is healthy. Desire to fix something, not so healthy, right? Desire for the experience is so healthy and fun for us. Desire to fix something because something is wrong with me and I don't feel whole, not so healthy. So how do we start to untangle all of that and make our brains believe that desire is good and any outcome is growth, not failure? How do we partner with our brains, our brilliant, brilliant brains, to make them our allies? We have to deal with that false identity that we created that we believe is true. Right? We have to stop arguing for our own limiting beliefs. And I think that looks wonderful, we say, but that lady, she probably only eats spinach and broccoli and works out all the time. I actually want to enjoy my life. We sabotage ourselves. We judge to self-sabotage. We tell stories immediately. We are master storytellers as humans, and we need to investigate that. Are your stories telling you why you can't have what you want? Or are your stories curious and hopeful, and are they open for possibilities? We need to learn that our brains take their orders from us, not the other way around, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like we have no choice in the matter, and it's just the way that it is. How often have you heard that, right? Well, what can I do about that? That's just the way the world is. That's just the way the economy is. That's just the way politics are. That's just the way our bodies age. That's my genetics. I can give you 100 examples I can fire off. We normalize feeling less than and believing we can't accomplish what we want. We normalize that in society. But it's only true what we normalize individually and collectively. It is only true because we've convinced our brains that they are. And our brains will show us the evidence to make us right over and over and over again. Because there are people thriving in this world. There are people enjoying their lives, doing what they love to do, feeling happy and grateful and extraordinary to get up and be able to do what I do every day. That is a true statement, but you have to build it. Our subconscious mind will also always keep us away from pain. So if you have a desire and you start to move towards it and you're taking little baby steps, and you start to have that feeling inside like, ooh, this might be challenging. I don't know. What if I fail? What if I blow it all up? What if I mess it up? What if I can't spell bumblebee correctly? That's going to hurt. And everyone's going to know that I'm not smart enough or not good enough or not lovable and that I'm a phony. Enter self-sabotage for protection. Becomes a coping mechanism. So perfection becomes unattainable, and yet that's the desire. Protection, self-sabotage, protection at the cost of your desire, your dream, your happiness, your joy. Because what if something's wrong with me? We make it personal, and we make it equate to our value, to our worth. And what do we say when that happens? What's the immediate story we start to tell? Well, I guess that just wasn't meant to be. Or I'm not feeling it. Or see, I knew it. I'll never get to have what I want. Maybe just the universe hates me right now. We have to really investigate this because as of right now, studies are showing that almost 20% of the population has an anxiety disorder. These are, of course, only the ones that have actually been diagnosed. Studies also show that anxiety and depression are linked. Anxiety can cause physical symptoms. Anxiety disorders increase risk of health complications. And anxiety can cause anger and memory problems. Of the 20% diagnosed, 7% of that are in children between the ages of 3 and 17. Wow. So this is really interesting. Stay with me on this. Here's why. Our fears begin in infancy stages. I've been studying the work of a medical doctor recently who gave up his medical practice to only practice clinical hypnotherapy, and his body of work positions that subconscious programming begins when we're preverbal, we're nonverbal, before we've started to speak. When a baby's need isn't met, or needs aren't met, plural, maybe mom doesn't feed us on time, or baby sister got more attention, I cried and cried and cried, but nobody came to soothe me, baby experiences hurt. And then the next time it happens, baby begins to develop the expectation of hurt. Now we're starting to form patterns and programming. From the expectation of hurt, baby develops fear. So we have hurt, we have fear, and how do we cope with the fear? Baby develops anger, baby screams, baby lashes out. My needs, I need someone to come and take care of me right now. This is infancy stages, programming begins. Hurt, fear, anger. Well, what is that really telling us? In my opinion, that's telling us that we have unresolved infancy programming compounded over time. We've never dealt with it. We've created an identity from it, and we develop coping mechanisms to protect ourselves. So we project it all over every aspect of our lives, right? We sabotage relationships, we expect to get hurt, we get angry when we're triggered in order to cope, and we go in search of mothering, soothing, someone to care for us and meet our needs. We're looking outside of ourselves to still have baby's needs met. Never learning to develop healthy self-regulation and self-leadership, all at the unconscious level. So no criticism, no self-judgment here. This is what we do. This is how our brains work. And if you start to look around the world, you'll begin to see kind of like everyone's little person inside of them running their words and their body language and their emotions. Our brains are always going to find the evidence to make us right. Always. Which is why I said our brains follow instruction from us, not the other way around. So what we believe, it is going to show you the proof of. So if we're walking around believing that our needs aren't met, that we don't matter, and we expect pain, and we cope with it by becoming angry, what does the world look like? But all of this is resolvable. We can heal. We have the adult resources now to heal that past and change those unconscious beliefs. And when we do that through clinical hypnotherapy, it's custom work. So it's specific to you and your past, and it feels natural and it feels positive and it's work. And we start to begin to live those new beliefs. And what do you think your brain does with that? What do you think your brain does with those new beliefs? It makes you right. It starts to find the evidence of that. Things start to change. Your brain doesn't judge you and it doesn't discern. It just carries it out. But you see, you're the one with all the power. You have to choose. You have to decide. You have to believe it. And you have to want to give up that old story. And it's hard to give up those protection mechanisms that have been there for decades. It's not easy. There are payoffs that come with that. It sounds like it's easy work, but it's work. Because those payoffs, even though they're negative ones, even though it's sabotaging you from getting what you want, it still feels like safety and it still feels like protection. So there's unraveling. There's layers and nuances that need to be addressed so that those negative payoffs can be met in healthier ways with self-regulation. And then you are starting to partner with that innate intelligence within you that runs you, right? That innate intelligence, that wisdom that runs you when you go to sleep at night, that keeps your heart beating and your lungs expanding and contracting. And you wake up in the morning and say, well, I didn't have to tell my heart to beat all night long. You are partnering with that wisdom that sees the road ahead, that knows the plan for you, that says, come on, let's go. There is so much more here that you want. And what you believe about yourself and what I know to be true about you because I built you. I know where you come from. I know how magnificent you are. These two things they don't align. So it's never going to come over and join you in your limiting beliefs, but it will protect you from them. It will protect you from them, and it will be hyper vigilant, and it will watch for it everywhere, and you will see the evidence everywhere. That doesn't feel like whole. But you can train it to believe a lot of other positive things about your capabilities. And as it starts to integrate that, then we don't need the same coping mechanisms. They start to fall away. And then we start to develop really healthy, vibrant lives. And it keeps showing us the evidence of that too. The mechanism works the same, but you have to choose it. You have to decide that those payoffs are not worth it for me anymore. So the question really becomes, do you want to be happy and self-led, feeling whole, or do you want to be right? And I thought that was a conversation worthy of having. So, contemplate until I see you again next month. Have a wonderful rest of your month. Be well. Be insightful. Start to remember your mind through this conversation. Your subconscious mind is always listening. It wants to engage. It wants to show you. But what we tend to do is something comes up and we immediately want to analyze it with our conscious mind, label it, and project it as something else. What if we stop doing that? What if you could have what you want? What does it mean for you to feel whole? Be well, and I'll see you next month.